Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. And here in the Bible Bistro, I'm looking forward to the publishing of my next book, which will be next week. And it'll come out first on Kindle, and then somewhere in the middle of the month of March, we'll probably release it as a paperback. But this is going to be a collection of short stories that I've written. It's going to be called Uncle Royce's Funeral, and it'll include Uncle Royce's Funeral, the story Mansville, Couches. What are other stories here? The Merging is in there. Marcy the Mortician is in there. There's some pretty funny ones that are in there, interesting ones that are in there. So I hope that you'll get a copy of Uncle Royce's Funeral. If you like stories, these are short stories, so easily read in one sitting. You can just sit down and read through, somewhere between 1,000 to 4,000, 5,000 words, something like that. So it's not a long read, any of them. I hope that you'll check it out. It should be published for Kindle on March 6th. And then after that, probably somewhere in the middle of the month, we'll put it out for paperback. Psalm 119. And today we're looking at verses 74 and 75. I said yesterday that we begin Psalm 119, the Yod section, with 4 statements: creation, salvation, witness, and confession. And so we have this progression that takes place. And yesterday we saw the creation and salvation statements there in the A and B sections of the couplet, which make up Psalm 119, verse 73. Today we're going to read verses 74 and 75. We're going to see the witness and confession section. And then verse 75 is going to give us something interesting. We're going to see, really ties into what we had last week when we talked about affliction. Let me read for you verses 74 and 75. They that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in thy word. I know, O Lord, that thy judgments are right, and that thou in faithfulness has afflicted me. All right, so creation was in verse 73, the A part, your hands have made me and fashioned me. Salvation there was in the B part, give me understanding that I may learn thy commandments. The witness here is in the A part of 74. He says, they that fear thee will be glad when they see me. So there's this witness section. Somebody is seeing him, and there's a reaction that's happening, gladness. So his very presence produces a gladness in those that see him. And then he gives us the reason in the B part, because I have hoped in thy word. So he's confessing that this is why people are glad when they see me, because I hope in your word. So it gives other people hope, it gives them joy and a delight, because gladness is produced when he's there. So we have the witness and we have the confession, and that all began in verse 73 with, you've made me, you fashioned me. He understands his need for understanding and learning. He asks for it. He has a witness because people are glad when they see him. And then we have this confession here, because I have hoped. So that's why this is happening. I have hoped in your word. In verse 75, we have this statement, I know, O Lord, that thy judgments are right, and that thou hast in faithfulness afflicted me. Again, remember, last week we talked about how the Lord had afflicted him, and he said, you've done well to do that. Here he says, your judgments are right, and your judgment for me was affliction. You in faithfulness have afflicted me. He attributes what's happening to him to the Lord. He says, you have afflicted me in faithfulness. Your judgments are right. And now tomorrow, what follows through the rest of the psalm depends on what he just said here in verse 75. And we'll see that beginning tomorrow. I hope you'll join me then on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.